Upgrades.
Hey, what's going on there, everybody? It's the same Leg here representing TeamJVS, here to give you guys another movie review. This is straight from Ridley Scott himself. I'm talking about Napoleon. Napoleon is starring the amazing Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon Bonaparte. It's starring Vanessa Kirby as Josephine, who is his love, his empress. It's also got Matthew Needham, who's recently been in the Game of Thrones series, House of Dragons. Tahar Rahim, who is in The Maturian. He plays the role of Paul, and a slew of other amazing actors and actresses. So let's go ahead and kind of get down to it. What did I think about it? The biggest thing that I can say was the most elevated thing in this is Vanessa and Joaquin. Like, I think that Vanessa's range is so high. Like, there's a lot of different dimensions to the character and the person that is Josephine, because she's coming from a very humble beginning, and at the same time, she's put and thrust into one of the most ambitious, messed up minded military tacticianers of that era. And so she's always going to be second to his ambition, right? From the perception standpoint. But that starts to shift, and those ranges of emotions and her elevation as far as an actress, it's just up there. So that is one of the highest marks in this movie. Joaquin Phoenix, in my personal opinion, is one of the greatest actors, period, right now. And whatever he does, he's going to elevate the material, right? I think that the very first act of this, when you kind of see him from the very beginning, when he's just getting into his stride and working his way up the ranks, battle for battle, like maneuver for maneuver, like you're seeing him at his best. And those moments, he is just cold, calculative to himself. Those moments, I think, are golden. Like, Joaquin is killing it. Then there starts to be a transition where things start to change, and I'll get to that, negatives and positives. Another good thing that I'll say as far as Ridley's approach to like scenery and environment, like I think some of the battles with ships, some of the battles, the way that they were handled as far as the military side, I think that they were coordinated and choreographed very well. They were shot very well. I mean, this is a very beautiful movie. Ridley doesn't make anything that doesn't look eye-catching. I think that even the use and the touch of CGI was really minimal. I think it was very practical, and at the same time, it worked very efficiently. Also, the costume design and the set design, I think, equally were a good measure with this one. The score was pretty good. I think it worked, especially when it came to the transition from where it's like military tacticianer to finding the love of his life to into himself. And I think that those themes were done pretty well as far as with the score with it. I think the issue with the movie comes with the progression of the story. Unfortunately, the public perception of Napoleon is he's a tyrant, like he conquered a certain parts of the known area that he resided in through his military experience. And so it's kind of like, you want to see that. You want to see those battles. You want to see him at his worst. And you get that at times, but I think that the story more than anything bodes to his fixation and need to be right and to be loved. And that need to be loved by his empress, Josephine, is the Achilles heel of not only him, I guess, in the presumed reality, but also in this movie, because even though Vanessa and Joaquin have good chemistry, it just makes the movie feel disjointed. It shifts in and out of where the movie's trying to thread. There's been a couple different movies I've seen this year where I've seen that work. Like, there's a movie called Maestro that's coming out very soon, and it does something similar to that, but they perfected that because it worked with the progression of who the person was internally. And it's kind of like with Napoleon, you see like him go through the whole stretch of his era and to where it ends, and it leaves the movie feeling, in my personal opinion, really tiring and exhausting. It makes you not feel as though you want to go and rewatch it again, even though some of the performances are great, even though some of the battle sequences are executed pretty well. It just isn't fulfilling enough for me to want to go and watch it again, because I've seen what you're trying to portray in terms of why and what makes this man presumably tick based on the story and the narrative that you're presenting. And I think that the other thing is you got some other great actors in this, and they're kind of not left second fiddle, but every single time you're watching him maneuver through the ranks, you're watching them shift with him as he's moving up. Not with anything to do with his relationship, not with anything to do with any outside relationship other than Josephine. And the crazy thing is, I mean, his brother is in this. Like, Matthew plays the role of his brother, Lucien, but you don't get anything from that. You don't get anything from his past. You just get that. And I think that if you are okay with the narrative speaking around his need for Josephine, I think you may like gravitate towards the film. But I think that as a whole, I think it makes, unfortunately, this progression, this elevation of a man feel disjointed. Like, there was a movie years ago with James McAvoy and Forrest Whitaker, The Last King of Scotland, right? And a good part of that, James McAvoy has this interesting, engaging relationship and is connected to this tyrant, and you see kind of where he is until he goes to what we know and what, you know, history shows. But even though I don't think I would ever rewatch that, like, there's something, there's a miss somewhere with the way the progression of the story was told. And I just, unfortunately, that leaves this a little bit flat, unfortunately. I'd rest this at a C- or maybe a C. I'd recommend people to go and check it out if you really are a lover of Joaquin and his creative performances. Same thing for Vanessa. And then, of course, really as a director. I mean, he's still an amazing director, has amazing ranges of works. And technically, this is no different, but I just don't think this hit the mark. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace, people.